Okay, today we look at the basic law of sines. And I'm going to say this word, and please reserve your kind of distaste for it. But I'm going to show you a very, very short proof. I'm going to take a triangle that's not a right triangle. This is not a right triangle. Does everybody agree this does not have a right angle in it? So the challenge for us is we learned how to solve right triangles. We use SOHCAHTOA. But what if you don't have a right triangle? What the heck do you do then? And so we got to figure something out. I'm going to call this side A, and I'm going to call this side B. And then this side would be C. And I am going to make a right triangle by dropping what we call an altitude, and we'll call this height H. And we're going to get rid of that right angle in a second, but first I'm going to use it for my benefit. And I'm going to write two formulas down. Sine of A and sine of B. In terms of opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse, do you remember what sine is? Opposite over hypotenuse. So if you look at A, the opposite side would be H, and the adjacent or and the hypotenuse would be B, right? Everybody agree that sine of A is H over B? Sine of A is H over B. Okay, so the sine of B would be H over A. Is everybody okay with that? H over A. Both of those have an H, right? In fact, if I wanted to solve for H, I could multiply both sides by B. And so I would have sine of A times B is equal to H. And then if I wanted to solve for H here, I would multiply both sides by A. And I would get A times the sine of B is equal to H. Everybody remember at the beginning I said, what do we do if we don't have a right triangle? I'm going to get rid of the H right now. Watch. How can I get rid of this H? What can I put in place of that H? Isn't that equal to H? So all of a sudden I have a formula that says B times the sine of A is equal to A times the sine of B. I'm going to do one last thing. In math, as long as you do something to one side, you just have to do it to the other side, right? So I'm going to divide this side by AB, and I'll divide the other side by AB. If I divide this side by AB, what happens? What cancels? The B's cancel. What happens over here? And so if you look at my formula, the formula says sine of A over A, or sine of angle A over side A, is equal to sine of angle B over side B. And it turns out that that's equal to the sine of, anybody finish it off? Follow the pattern. C over C. That's the law of sines. We just proved it for you. That allows us to solve triangles. Let's draw a triangle. A, B, C. A, B, C. I'm going to list all 6 angles, or all 6 sides and angles. So 3 of each. Angle A, angle B, angle C. Side A, side B, side C. Which one do I currently know? A is 42 degrees. B is 80. So now I can figure out C. How? They all add to 180 degrees. So I take out my handy dandy calculator. And my calculator. And my calculator. And there it is. Take that 180, I subtract 80, and I subtract 42, and I get 58 degrees. Anybody questions so far how I got those? That's pretty straightforward, isn't it? What else do I know? Side A is 10. So all I have to find are sides B and side C. It's not a right triangle, so I can't use SOHCAHTOA. Instead, I use the law of sines. You have to have an angle and its opposite side. The sine of 42 divided by what? 10 is equal to, would you like to find B or C? It's up to you. B? Fine, we'll do B. So it'll be the sine of what? 80 divided by B. I'm going to cross multiply. I get B times the sine of 42 is equal to 10 times the sine of 80. What do I do to solve for B? Divide by the sine of 42. So B is equal to 10 times the sine of 80 divided by the sine of 42. Take out your calculator, turn it on. Check your mode, make sure you're not in radians. I'm in radians right now. Work in degrees, and I'm just going to type that in. 10 sine of 80. Make sure you close your parenthesis. Divided by the sine of 42. Close your parenthesis. And you get 14.72. Now I've got to find C. How do you think I find C? Can't use the Pythagorean theorem because it's not a right triangle. You just got to use the law of sines again. Sine of 42 over 10 equals the sine of C is 58. So 58 divided by C. Cross multiply. C times the sine of 42 is equal to 10 times the sine of 58. How do I solve for C? Divide by the sine of 42. And so you type that into your calculator. 10 sine 58 parentheses divided by sine 42. And I get 12.67. Not too bad, huh? All right, I'm going to let you try one just like this on your worksheet. Okay, we're going to look at example 2. It says A is 40 degrees, side A is 10, and side C is 7. So I'm going to make a triangle here. A, B, C. 40 degrees, side A is 10, side C is 7. What's different about this one compared to the ones we worked on before? Got two sides. You don't have a second angle, do you? We set it up the same way. Sine of 40 over what? 10 equals sine of, do you want to find angle B or C? And there's a correct answer here. You want to find angle C because you know side C. Notice how this time I'm trying to find angle C. I'm simply going to multiply both sides by 7. And I get 7 sine of 40 over 10 is equal to the sine of C. I'll make that into a decimal. Let's figure out what that is. 7 sine of 40 divided by 10. And I get 0.44995. So 0.44995 is equal to the sine of C. Does anybody here remember what do we do on our calculator to find an angle? The inverse. So instead of pressing sine, you press second sine. And you type in that 0.44995. And you get 26.74. Now what can you find? Angle B. Angle B is going to be easy to find because they all add to 180. 180 minus 40 minus 26.74. 113.26. Almost done. I've got angle A, angle B, angle C. I've got side A, I got side C. I just need side B. Can I use the Pythagorean theorem? Why? It's not a right triangle, so I can't use the Pythagorean theorem, so we just use the law of sines. I'll use the sine of 40 over what? 10 is equal to the sine of B is 113.26 divided by B. Anybody from your practice so far, do you see kind of how this could go quickly? It's going to be B times the sine of 40, right? It'll be that times that. So I'll end up having to divide by the sine of 40, right? So it makes it easy to go 10 sine of 113.26 and then divide off the sine of 40. So after a while, you can see you can kind of do the problems rather quick. 14.29. I'm going to do one last check to see if my answers are reasonable. What's my biggest angle? B. Is that my biggest side? Yeah, it is. That's good. My smallest angle is C, and that's my smallest side. Angle A is my biggest or medium angle, and side A is my medium side. So you can see how they work out. So all the ones on the left-hand side, you don't have to do sine inverse. But all the ones on the right-hand side, you do sine inverse, okay? So I want you to do 3 of each, total of 6 problems. I have the answer key up on the board. You've got 20 minutes to work on it, and should be able to get some of them done. And I'll be coming around to help you.